Today we're going to be making a bracelet, a bangle bracelet, using a metal aluminum bracelet blank. I'm going to go over what we're going to need first, and then we'll get going. First, you're going to need a bench block. I don't have a regular rubber pad for underneath mine, so I just improvised. I used 2 pot holders and a piece of fleece, and that works just fine for me. Also need some 20 gauge wire for that, and then we're gonna need an assortment of beads. You don't need very many, but they're just some Jesse James beads that I have collected out of different mixes. So I will be picking from these, but you can use any mix or any color that you like. Also in the bracelet blanks, this doesn't have to be done in silver. There's a lot of different colors of the bracelet blanks. Most metals, they have, of course, the gold, the copper, the bronze color, and the silver, at least. Those are the ones that, color-wise, what they have. And as far as tools, I have a round nose plier, a flush cutter, a tweezer plier, and a chain nose plier. I also am going to be using a chasing hammer and a ball peen hammer. This hammer so happens to have one, you know, each end has what I need, so we're in good business right there. Okay, so first off, let me get this stuff out of the way. The bracelet blanks come with a plastic on the back and on the front of them, okay? So you need to decide what side do you want to use as your good side. So take your plastic off. It doesn't really matter. And what I like to do is keep the plastic on the back part of it from the front that you chose. I keep the plastic on it when I do the hammering, only because it does reduce the damage to the back of the piece from the bench block and the pressure of the hammer hitting it multiple times. So that's a little trick that I do. So what we're gonna do is start out by hammering this bracelet blank. And the first thing you wanna do is you want to be able to splay these ends out a little bit. It just gives them a nice look. And you're gonna wanna use your chasing hammer side for this. So basically it's, and excuse the hammering, I know it's going to be loud, but basically it's just your normal hitting with your chasing hammer in this specific area, and you're just hammering and splaying out that end a little bit. And concentrate then, you know, the basic shape there that you're going to want. And you just concentrate then on the end, splaying that out. And this is where the chasing hammer comes in handy, because you can get right up to that edge with that chasing hammer, and it does a real nice job of flattening that end out. So you see the difference. You know, that just looks a little more finished, just nicer, period. That's in my opinion anyway. So we're going to turn it around. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. And I'm only going up maybe a ½ an inch with my blows, just to kind of get that wanting to work itself out. Again, we do that for a little while, that ½ inch piece, and then we're going to move out to the end, just like we did before. Now, keep in mind, if you do get some rough edges on the end when you were doing this, you can take a file and go over it lightly just to give it a smooth, to get it back to the smooth state. You'll just have to gauge that as you work on it. Let's see, how are they doing? They look pretty darn close. A little bit more on this side. Okay, so both of our ends are splayed, and you can see that looks much more designer, in my opinion anyway. Now what we're gonna do, and I do apologize, this is gonna be a lot of video because we're doing a lot of hammering, but it will be over soon, I promise. We are going to texture it, and that's gonna give it even more of a nice high-end look. All I'm gonna use is my ball peen to do this. You can get texturing hammers that come with, and which I do have, that come with multiple ends that you can change out. And of course, you could certainly use that as well. But today we're going to use the ball peen hammer. And basically, like I said, we're just giving it some texture to kind of give it some zhuzh or oomph. So here we go. We're just going to use this end of our ball peen hammer and give it medium strikes with our hammer. And we're just kind of letting the hammer go where it will. I'm going to go up here in the end just a smidge. And we're going to work our way down the bracelet. We're doing the middle now. You can see so far what we have, if you can hopefully see that texture. And I just think it just brings out the piece so much better to have that texture underneath your wire wrapping. So we'll keep working our way down, guys. And you can see it's kind of curling on us. At any point, you can turn that over and hit that with your chasing hammer on the other side, just to kind of give it back to its shape before you proceed. And we're going back to the ball peen now. And remember, with every blow, you are work hardening this bracelet. So when it comes time to shape it, we're going to be very careful so it isn't brittle and it doesn't break on us. We're almost there, guys. You can hold your ears. I'm so sorry. All right, so we will call that good for now. The next thing that you can do, and this is, again, more hammering, but what I like to do is I take the ball peen and I just go along the edges of the piece. And it does seem to kind of finish it for you along the edges. This is optional, guys. If you like the way it looks, the way that it is, go for it. That's always my theory. Whatever speaks to your soul. But yeah, basically that concept, and I'll show you in case anybody does want to do it. You just take your ball peen and you're going more on the edge. And I want to say it gives it almost like a diamond cut appearance. You can see you miss a lot, but see, I don't know if you guys can see that, but right on that edge, it almost looks like a diamond cut appearance on it. So that's another option you can do to kind of finish the ends of it. So I'm going to quickly do that. I'm going to mute you for this part, and I'll be right back. Okay, so here I am again with my chasing hammer side, and I'm just kind of trying to straighten that out, and we can call that done with the hammering. So we will move forward. So I've gone back and forth on this, whether to wrap it while it's still straight or wrap the bracelet with the wire and beads once it's curved. So I've decided that we want to go to the end shape that we're going to have before we start wire wrapping on it. Because if we do it on the straight piece and then we go to give it the curvature that it needs for a bracelet, it may distort the wire wrapping and the beads on here, and we don't want that. So what I'm going to do, and this is one thing I did forget to tell you that you're going to need, guys, or something like it. I have a bracelet mandrel and also a bracelet bender plier. Between both of these, I will get my bangle into the shape that I need. Whatever technique you like to use, if you have a bottle, if you have anything, just a big wood dowel, you can see that's all this is just wood. you can just place it around there once you get the basic bend into it with this. And then, you know, if you need to do any more shaping with your hammer, you can, okay? So that's what that looks like. All right, so let's start. We're gonna start with our bracelet bending tool, and we're gonna start on the end here. And we're just gonna put it, do you see the smile? There's a smile, and then this is, you know, more of a downward shape here. What you're going to want to do though is use this side of it on the top always. This is the bottom piece, this is the top piece. This will give you the shape that you want. So we're going to take that and we're going to put it on the end and we're going to give it a squeeze. And we're doing this slowly and gently because we don't want to put a crack into our work hardened bracelet. So I'm just slowly working up with this tool in small increments. Yeah, that was kind of a big one there, but try to be careful. Little bits, just like you're taking little bites out of it, slowly but surely. Okay, so I'm going to do this end just a smidge better here. That's going to give you your basic shape, which is nice because you have a jumping off point then. Okay, so you can see what we have so far. And for me, that's going to be a little bit loose. So I'm going to put it on my bracelet mandrel, see where it fits. If it fits around here. And we'll move it down to the point, basically the size that I'm going to want, which I bet is about right here. And then I'm going to take, sorry guys, I know that's hard to see with the camera angle, but you can see I found that step there that I want to use. And all I'm going to do now is I'm going to use my chasing hammer and I'm just going to give it a little bit more shape by hammering on the bracelet mandrel. And you're just holding your piece there. And it does have a lot of spring back because we did work harden it. So this may take a little bit. You could also use a rawhide hammer or a nylon hammer. Here, I'll show you a nylon hammer, excuse me, while I reach across here. This is your nylon hammers. This is a harder end. This is a little bit softer end. And basically, if you use that, you're not going to get any of the marks like you would get using your chasing hammer. Now, if you don't mind the marks, no big deal. But I'll use this nylon hammer because we're going to want to keep it the way that we textured it. And guys, this is probably the longest part of the project is prepping your bangle. If you can get pre-made bangles that you want to use that are already shaped and textured and whatnot, go for it. It would, you know, take your time down quite a bit, but I'm going to squeeze him just a little bit up here. And there we go. I probably will work on that a little bit more just to get it worked down just a smidge, but that gives you the idea. So now I'm going to take this plastic off the back because we do not want to wire wrap in this plastic by no means. And you can see our back looks really nice. And also, guys, if you are a hand stamper, keep in mind, if this is going to be a gift for someone, you could, before you bend this bracelet, hand stamp a little message in here or initials or birthstone, whatever you wanted to do just to make it personal for someone. So now we'll get this stuff out of the way and we're going to get to the wire wrapping part. Now, first off, I'm going to pick out the beads I want to use. And like I said, it doesn't take many. Let's see here. What do we want to use on it? I think more on the smaller side of the beads. And again, like I said, this is all personal preference. That's kind of big, so we'll do, how about we go with like a blue kind of theme or turquoise. Let's see what we find that we like the best. And that's turquoise. Let's see, and this little bit of mint green might be pretty in there too. Okay, turquoise and mint green is the winner. So, let's see, we'll put these back in here just to get them out of the way quickly and that they do not splay everywhere. There's another one of those. I don't know if I'll be using all these guys, but as we go, we're gonna make it up as we go along, right? That's what we all do, right? Okay, so I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start out with about 16 inches of wire. That's probably way too much, but I want to make sure that I have enough. So I'm going to cut about 16 inches with my flush cutter, using my flush cutter towards the piece of wire, the flush end. See, this is the flush end. This is not. Toward the piece of wire that I'm going to be using to work with. Okay, so we're going to start with this. Now what we're going to want to do, choose an end, because you don't have to wire wrap the whole thing. And I, in fact, am not going to. I'm just going to do like this front piece. I just want to get that. There we go. I'm just going to do this front piece here. And I want to leave enough because I want to put a swirl here when we're done. So basically, all there is to this, and you can see I'm holding the wire with my left hand and I'm putting pressure down on it. And I'm pulling my wire underneath the top layer of the bangle there. I'm going to switch hands a little bit here because we're going to work this way. Oops, get that up there. Okay, so you want to get that first piece, few pieces that you wrap around on there nice and snug. You can even go in and just give it a little pinch with your pliers just to kind of get it to go the way you want to go. Pull it, just get it nice and secured on there, because we don't want to do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Do as I say, not as I do, right? Okay, so I'm pushing those together. I'm giving it a little squeeze down gently. You don't have to be Superman with it, but so what I'm going to do here then, I left my little end here, which I'm going to turn into a curlicue here shortly, but I'm going to give it these 3 wraps. If you can see that, guys, it's on our paddle end. And then I'm going to string on a bead. And I think we'll start with one of these mint rectangle beads. Sorry if I'm saying a lot, guys. Sometimes I have to think, and there we go again. Sometimes I have to think because I've had some issues with some cognitive in the past. So anyway, all I did is I laid that bead, sorry guys, I laid the bead across here, across the top of the bracelet, and then wrapped. It's almost like mindless, but it'll give you a really pretty look. Okay, so let's do one of these, if I can get that up in the camera for you. Let's do one of these turquoise beads, I do believe. And I'm just going to do, I want to do 2 wraps around that afterward. Then I'm going to put on my turquoise bead. Okay? Yeah, I am. Yeah, I am. If that doesn't fit. Oh, that one does. Okay, good. Let me straighten my hand out. Now, keep in mind, you may want to keep your nylon jaw pliers handy, as always, when you're working with wire. Because if you're me, and I don't know how many of you, maybe you don't do this, but I end up crinkling the ends up and everything, doing everything I'm not supposed to do. So anyway, so here we go with the next bead, and we're going to lay that right across the bracelet. And I'm going to put this, because it has a flat side on it, and these flat-sided beads are probably your best bet. You can do round if you like it, but these lay really, really nice on the bracelet. Okay, and we're going to bring that wire through. And you can see, guys, I'm not threading through the very end. I'm kind of bringing it through the middle like so, because it makes it easier to kink the wire if you put the end through, I believe anyway. I just have found this gives me the best look, and I have the best luck. So we put our bracelet down, or excuse me, we put our bead down, guys. And we're doing our 2 wraps around. And I pulled that through again. And now we can pick another bead. How about the long fluted mint green bead? We'll see how he's gonna look. We could kind of, I think, put that a little bit on an angle. I think I like that. So you can use all different shapes, and you can see how I'm just gonna put that on an angle before I wrap it. And I'm just gonna take that wire through and around. And see, that bead sits on there very nicely as well. You can use basically anything here, guys. I know I said that, but don't be afraid to improvise with what makes you happy. So I'm just doing 2 times around. I'm gonna do another bead. That one won't fit, so I'm gonna do one of these really pretty bicones with the foiling on it. We're gonna lay that across. You can see how pretty that looks on there. And wrap that. And you can put it, stop wherever you want, guys. But I'm gonna do twice around here, and I think I'm gonna do 1 more bead and call it done, because I mean, I'm running out of wire. But you know, if you wanna do the whole bracelet, you're probably wanna take at least a couple feet, if not like 30 or 32 inches, just to give yourself a little bit of room there. Okay, so we did twice, and I'm gonna come back under, and I'm gonna place this other rectangle shaped mint colored bead, really pretty, across, and I'm gonna call that done. So I'm gonna wrap again twice, and I'm gonna make a little swirl with that end. I'm gonna do a swirl on both sides just to give it a finished appearance. But first I'm gonna take my flush cutter and cut the end of it off and give it a little roll with my, and I want to make sure this is flush before I start, guys, in case I didn't say that, but we're using the flush side to cut it. And make sure, if you want to get things flush, you need to use this flush side facing to your piece of wire that you're going to be using. So anyway, I'm going to start with my round nose pliers, and I'm just going to go to the very tip with my little tiny end. And you can see, I hope so, anyway, that's right in the end. There's nothing sticking through there. So I'm going to do a little circle to start with. And then I'm going to pick up my, and you can see that there, what I did, my chain nose pliers, and just swirl it. And I'm grabbing it and pushing it. Grabbing it and pushing it. Make sure you hold it tight enough, guys, because if you don't, you're going to get your wire all marred up, and no one wants their wire marred. So, no. So, we do that, and that's just going to be a little teeny tiny. And what I just did there, I did a few rounds. Hopefully you can see that. And then I just pressed it tight against there, and you can take your plier and just squeeze it on there. And then we're going to do the same thing up here. I am going to see, because you can see there's a little kink here. Of course there is, from me. But we're going to straighten that out. And I'm kind of going to gauge, thinking about how big of a loop I want. I know this is too much wire to fill up that space. So I'm going to cut some of it off and the flush cutter against the wire. And I'm going to start a loop here. Now, I do want it to be bigger, but, you know, you just have to kind of gauge for yourself. And there you go. There's your circle. And grab and push. Grab and pull, more so, I guess. Push or pull, whatever you call it. Pushing back, or you're just going to grab the wire, push it back. Roll. Roll. And you're going to keep doing this until you get the size of the loop that, or the coil that you like. Excuse me. Okay. Alrighty. So now I think that's going to fit in there real nicely, that size that I made. I know that's hard to see with the silver on silver. So I'm going to do the same thing I did earlier. I'm going to push my thumb down on it. And then I'm going to kind of go in with my pliers and press it down, kind of squeeze that end a little bit. You can use your chain nose, you can use a tweezer plier, anything that you're comfortable with, just to kind of get that to lay down for you and be nice and snug. And you can go back and make any adjustments that you'd like on any of the areas on the piece. Just going to snug this up a bit more. Sorry, I pulled that out of camera. And then same thing here. Snug in the ends. Everything looks really good and secure. So the other option you can do, guys, is if this is a 7-inch bangle, but if you get like an 8-inch, if this may even be a 6-inch, I don't know. Let's see. I'll measure this one. Let me double check for you before I give you information. This is a 6-inch. So I don't know if you've ever seen the bracelets that are kind of like bypass bracelets. If you would get an 8-inch bracelet, this could be a bypass bracelet where one would kind of go over the top of the other, like so. And then you'd have the beads up on top and the plain underneath it. Just going to pull that in a hair more. But it's all up to you where your placement of your beads are going to be. This is what I like. This is what I prefer. It's just a little bit of a statement, but that's it, guys. That's our bracelet. And I'll take some good photos for you and insert them here. But that's it. I think it's a great project. It's an easy project once you get past all the hammering and all the noise. So I hope you enjoyed this. Let me get this out of here so you can really see it. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and I enjoyed making it, and it's always fun to play with beads, guys. So I'll see you all again. Take care. See you in the next one.